So what is many-to-many relationship? So multiple rows in a table is associated with multiple rows in other table. That is what is called as your many-to-many relationship. Now, you just look at these two tables. We have two tables, account and customer table. So what kind of relationship these two tables can have it? Why don't you tell me what kind of, is this one-to-many or many-to-one? A single customer can have one account. Each customer have one account. One-to-many, can we say like that? Or each customer have more than one account? Can we say that way also? So we have two tables. We need to model the relationship. Yeah, no relation is there. We need to create a relationship. But before that, we wanted to understand, do we need to create one-to-many or many-to-one, or many-to-one? What kind of relationship? How do we model this relationship? So how do we model this tables? What kind of relationship is required here? I'll just tell you the scenario here. See, the customer is, let's say the customer is Ashok. A single customer can have more than one account. He has savings account and current account. According to this customer, he is having two accounts. Okay, and but in this case, the Ashok, he owns two accounts, so one-to-many. We can see one-to-many. But there is a situation for some customers. You know, this is something like mother. Joint account holder. Okay. So I just repeat it. A single customer Ashok is holding more than one account with a bank. Okay, savings account and current account. So Ashok is holding two accounts. And at the same time, if you see here, the savings account which he is holding it is a joint account. Both Ashok and his mother are the joint account holders. So the single person can more than one account, and the single account can have more than one account holder also, joint account holder. And if you see in the apartment, right, they have the, if you take any apartment, they have common treasurer, right? So in that case, what they do is they will have joint account holder, 2 to 3 people in the big apartments and all. Okay. So that, they, only one person we are not supposed to rely on. If somebody is, unavailable, other person should sign the check. Joint account. The single account can be held by more than one customer, and each customer can hold multiple accounts. So this is obviously a many-to-many relationship. Then how do we design this table? How do we model this table? Data modeling. How do you do that? So we need to have a bridge table here. We need to have a bridge table here. Okay, we need to have a bridge table here. In this case, why do we need to have a bridge table here? See, in this case, the customers, all the customers' details are kept in this. It's a kind of a dimension table, right? So whereas in this table, all the accounts are maintained here. Okay, account number, and then the detail of the account. So account ID is 1001, savings account, 1002, the current account. Okay, so each table has an ID column here. Okay, each table has an ID column here. So this is what your typical dimension table, because in the dimension tables, you need to have the ID column, the primary key column, which is nothing but the surrogate key column or primary key column. Okay, we have it, but in this case, we have many-to-many relationship exists between these two tables. We need a bridge table. Okay, so in this case, what we do is we keep the ID column from both the table in this link table or bridge table. Most of them, they use the term bridge table. Okay, it is also called as a factless fact, as I told you, right? So the factless table, it has simply the ID columns, not the facts in it. Okay. So in this case, we have something, this bridge table, we named it as an account customer. This account customer hold the combination of both the account ID of, and then the customer ID also here. In this case, we have two one-to-many relationships. Here, to one-to-many. So one-to-many relationship. Two one-to-many relationship, we have it between these two tables. Good. So now let us see what happens when we create a visual. For example, we need to create a visual wherein the output should be something like this. Account balance, one report needs to be created, one visual, and customer balance. This is requirement 1 and requirement 2. But if you see here, the requirement 2, it is displaying the total balance as each person's account balance. Okay, this is not prepared. See here, the amount, what it shows is the balance, account balance. Okay, this account 0 and the savings account $75 he has in it, and the current account he has $200. But 270, if you add these two things, 275, this visual is fine. But this one somehow it doesn't display the correct well here. This one doesn't display the correct value here. Okay, it displays the total balance across the customers. Okay, there is something wrong here. Okay, now what I do is I just go to the Power BI desktop. Already I have imported everything in the interest of time. And look here, I just go to this one. I just go to the model here. This is the table, account table, transaction table. Here, what we do is we introduce the transaction table because so here we have the account ID and customer ID, but where is the balance amount? How much amount they have? That for that we need another table in transaction table. The transaction table, day-to-day transaction, whatever the customers they do it, right? So that is the one is captured in that table. Okay, here what we have done, the customer table, which I have explained a while back, account table and customer table are there. In between, we have created account customer bridge table. The bridge table holds the combination of account ID and customer ID in it. Whereas here we don't have the customer ID, here we don't have the account ID. So here we have created a link between these two tables. Now what happens, this account table is filtering the transaction table. Okay, if I go to my report canvas here, and if you see here, if I select this visual, what are the columns that I used it from which table? How do I know that? When you select this visual on the right side, sorry. On the right side, you can see the column, the tables and table name and the column name from where we have used these columns, right? So account, if you see here, it comes from the account table and the amount comes from transaction table. That is what we can see it here. In this visual, that is what I have used it. And if you see the data here, the account 500 and 350 is there. And what I did here, instead of switching back to the data view every now and then, it's painful. And we may lose track also sometimes. See what I did, what data is there in the account table, that you can see it here. And what data is there in the customer table? You can see it here. This is account table and customer table. In the account table, we have 100, account ID 100. In the account ID 100, they withdrawn 500 rupees in the past or dollar, and then they deposited 1000 later point in time. And if you see this one, this is your link table. In this case, 100 is the account ID 100 is held by both people, 91 and 92, joint account holders. So these two customers are jointly holding this account, single account ID 100. That is the one properly mapped here. And this customer is holding, this customer 2 is holding the account ID as 101. Okay, this is a joint account holders. The account ID is same here. It duplicate is there. Whereas in the account table, you are not supposed to have the duplicate in account column. Don't get confused with the account ID. Here, the account number is this one. There is some naming convention problem. So, okay, here, this is what your account ID. This is account name. Got it? Okay. Now, what happens here is, I just took the account ID from this table and then the corresponding balance from this table. 100 is holding 100 for 100. There are two transactions are there. One is 100 and 500. So what happens is when you drag and drop any number data type into a table or any visual, it gives you this summarization. The default aggregation function sum is used. So in this case, what happened, since these two records are same, so 1000 plus negative 500 it gives us. Next one is 101. For him, only one record is there, hence it displays 350 as it is. It is showing the perfect result here. What we expected. This is the one it shows, but here the values are different, but forget about this is what we needed. We are able to get the correct output, 850. Look here, both the account put together. Irrespective of the customers, all we need is we wanted to group the balance by the accounts, each account. And then the total. So in total 850 is there. Fine. Next one is, if you see here the customer visual, the table visual. If you see here, the customer column comes from customer table. Okay, and in this table, the customer is, we dropped it here, and then the amount I have dropped it from my transaction table. This is my transaction table. I dropped it here. In this case, what happens? Customer 01, 91, right? His balance is it shows 850, and customer 02 also shows 850. So this is the overall total. It repeats the total, overall total for all the customers. There is something wrong here. So what is the problem here? I just go here. Since account table is directly filtering the transaction table, account and the transaction table, it is showing the correct value here. It is doing the filtering perfectly. But whereas here, what is happening here? If you see the model here, the customer table cannot directly filter the transaction table like how an account table was able to filter the transaction table. There is no direct relationship exists between these two tables. Hence, it is not showing the correct output. So what is the way out? So even though we created one-to-many relationship, we created a bit with the bridge table, it is not doing the correct job. What can I do now? So if you look at this relationship, which I created very closely, the customer and account master table have one-to-many relationship. Look here, customer ID, customer ID. And here, if you see here, the account and account, both of them are account ID only. So both the columns got linked correctly, one-to-many, fine. But customer table can filter only the account customer table, and at the same time, account table can filter account customer. If I want this guy to filter this table, what should I do? You just think this way. If this guy, you just think, these are all guys, okay? If this guy to reach out to this guy, how he can reach out? Only way out is he can, he has to, pass this guy, right? He has to go via this guy to this guy. He cannot go any other way. So this guy has to go this guy, and then he has to cross this guy. Okay, first he has to cross this, and then he has to go and talk to this guy, and then he has to talk to this guy, right? To reach this guy, he has to go via this guy only. In this case, what happens? We have one to many, but here one to many exists in this direction. Can someone tell me how we can enable this customer dimension table to filter the transaction table? Is this correct? What steps that we can do it? It's something like that. You cannot make a direct call to this guy. You have to call this guy. But this guy in turn has to call this guy to get the detail from this guy. But this guy cannot talk to this guy because it is a unidirection. So only this guy can talk to him, but he cannot talk back to him. If I enable this guy to talk to this guy, so he can talk to this guy and this guy can talk to this guy, obviously he himself can help filtering this one, right? So the customer ID can navigate, the customer dimension table can navigate the transaction table via account customer. But here we need to enable the bidirectional relationship. Before that, we just see here 850, it is not doing the filtering correctly. And here I'm going to enable the both, filter direction both. Now let us go and check what is happening here. Look here, it is doing fantastic job. So earlier it was displaying 850, 850 for all the customers. Now it is doing correct job. But if you see here, customer 01 is 91. Okay. And 91 and 92 both put together holding a single account ID 100. Okay. So in this case, what happens is customer 01, right, since this guy has two records indirectly, right? So 1000 minus 500, 500 it gives us. Got it? And customer 2 is, customer 2 is 92. 92 is, is holding the account ID 100 like this guy, and he's holding another account. Okay, in this case, what happened? 92 is, so 92 is holding account 100. So in this case, what happened? 1000 minus 500, 500 plus 350, 850 it shows. If I ask you in a layman point of view, what is the account balance for customer 2 and customer 1? With this data, what you will say? Give me the total net balance. Don't tell me the transaction. Okay, tell me. So 91 is holding account ID 100, right? So account ID, so the 100 is, and 100 two transactions are there. Forget about two people, right? So 91 is nothing, is holding account. In your account, you and your mother is there. If I ask you in this savings account, please assume that this savings account, how much balance you have it? 1000 minus 100, 500 will tell, right? Customer 01. But in this case, customer 01 is not holding any other account. He is holding only the joint account with his mother. Whereas in the case of 92, right, so he or she is holding more than one account. So in this case, what happens in our savings account? See, if I ask your mother how much balance you have in your savings account, she'll say 500. 1000 minus 500 is 500. And if I ask you how much savings savings in your savings account, how much balance you have it, you will say the same thing. So customer 1 saving account is 500. Customer 2 balance was 500. Savings account 500 is there. Plus, she is holding another account. So 500, 350, 850. That is how you need to understand. But don't literally go by this total. Okay, this total is not the correct one. So you understood, right? So that is how it is displaying the value here. It is doing the correct filtering here in this case. In this case, at the dimension level, we have created the many-to-many relationship. Okay. One second. Recording. In this case, we have created the bridge table between these two dimension tables. Okay. And what is the guidelines regarding the many-to-many dimensions? This is a many-to-many dimensions, right? Many-to-many dimensions, because these two are dimension tables. Okay. So in this case, the guideline is each table should have a unique identifier. In this case, the account, in this case, customer. These two columns in these two tables have a unique ID in it. And then in this case, you need to add a bridge table to store these two tables, the ID columns here, and then create configure. You need to configure the one-to-many relationship or the one bidirectional relationship. In this case, one bidirectional relationship to allow the filter propagation to continue to the fact type. This is your fact table. Okay. So, and then we can hide this bridge table also. Once we are done with this, we are able to get the output. So we don't need this one. We can hide this one. And then we can hide this one. And also any ID columns also we can hide this table, or you can hide the columns also. How you can hide it? You can see the eye icon here. You just click on it once. And if you click on it once again, it gets, you can see the striked out mark, right? It will be hidden because you don't want this to be visible in your report canvas. So you can see that here the output is same, but here we have just hidden this one. The account customer table, here it is not visible. Good. We don't want that table to be visible here, since we can hide it. So now we understood in this case how you can create the many-to-many relationship between the dimension table, because the dimension itself have many-to-many relationship. We can create like this. And we have another scenario wherein fact table. Okay, how to relate many-to-many fact table. Okay. Scenario 2. Many-to-many fact tables. Okay, before we proceed with the many-to-many, how to relate the many-to-many with the fact tables. So take these three tables alone. Okay, without having the bridge table. Okay, take this the same table, no bridge table. What you do is you create the direct relationship with these two tables, with this transaction table. Here the question is, why do we need to have a bridge table wherein you need to keep the account ID and customer? Instead, you can keep the account ID and customer ID here itself. With this, you give it a try. I will share this report file, give it a try, and let me know what is your observation. So are you able to filter the same way? I need these two visuals. This is your account balance. This is your customer balance. See if you can get the same output with this model, with this design. Okay, next one is we have order fact and then the fulfillment, or it is a shipment fact table. There are two fact tables are there. Scenario 2. Now we will look at the scenario 2, how to design the many-to-many relationship when it comes to the fact table. Okay, here what is happening here is the order table has one row per order line. Look here, this is your order line. I'll just show you the data here so that you will be able to understand. Look here, order fact table. See, the order ID is 1001. Okay, 1001. So in this 1001 order ID, they added two products. If I wanted to uniquely identify which product was ordered in which order, so in that case, you need to have one more column here, order line. Okay, so 1001 in this order line 1, product A purchased, ordered in this order line 2, from the same order ID, they purchased another product. Product A they purchased 5 and product B they purchased 10. Something like vegetable, you bought the vegetable, right? Something like onion, and then you bought some other vegetable, tomato or something, 10 kgs and 5 kgs. It shows something like that. But here order line, with the help of the combination of order ID and order line, you can find out which product on which date they ordered, right? So you can find out that one. Okay, and uniquely. So this is a kind of a composite key. In this case, what happens? This order table contains one row per order line. So one row per order line. Okay, and the fulfillment table, we have something called fulfillment table. It contains 0 or more rows per order line. 0 or more orders per. If you see here, 1001 and 1002 and 1003, the 3 orders are there. Here 1003, they have not yet shipped. Fulfillment is nothing but shipment. On which date the orders were fulfilled or shipped? 1003. So that is the reason why I have used this term. The fulfillment table can contain 0 or more rows per order line. Okay. So in this case, the order fact table is nothing but your sales orders. And then in the fulfillment table, it represents orders that have been shipped. What are the orders that we ship? So not necessarily, for example, in the order ID 1001, if the customer orders 2 different items, not necessarily these 2 items to be shipped on same day. Probably item, order line 1 in order ID, they ship it in one day. The same order ID for the different order line, they ship it on some other day. Okay, so in this case, what happens is there is a many-to-many relationship exists between the 2 order ID columns. Here you have the order ID, and here also you have the order ID. If you see the order ID, it is repeating, and fulfillment also you have the order ID, it is repeating here. Okay, the 2 order ID columns. So order table filters, in this case, we want the order table to filter the fulfillment table. Okay, so in this case, I want to report something like, how many in each order. If you look at here, in each order, how many quantity they ordered. So in 1001, 15 orders, 15 items they ordered. 1002, they ordered 6 items. In 1003, they ordered 5. But here in the fulfillment table, the reporting requirement is how many number of units we shipped by order ID. So 1001, 3 plus 2. In order ID 1001, 5 items we shipped. Okay, 1001, we have shipped, we can see that 15 items are there, but here in 1001, yes, sorry, here we have 13, 15, yes, 15 got shipped. Okay, and 1002, 15. 5, right? So order line 5. So that is what. So here we wanted to display a report variant. We wanted to see how many number of items have been ordered by order, and then how many items got, how many units we shipped in total by order ID. So order quantity, fulfillment quantity by order ID, we wanted to see it. Okay, so how do we create that? For this, I have created already a many-to-many relationship. You don't have to have the bridge table in this case. You just click on, when I click on this one, it opens, so whenever the 2 tables have the common columns, the duplicate values, right? So sorry, the 1001, 1001, 10. So first of all, the order ID in both the tables are not unique in it. When you try to create relationship, automatically Power BI desktop, right? It tells you it's a many-to-many relationship. This relationship has cardinal to many. Okay, so that is what it tells us. Now, what I did here, we want the order fact table to filter the fulfillment. If you click on this here, you have both bidirectional relationship. And when it comes to many, this is specific to many. You can see something like this. You want the order fact table to filter your fulfillment or the opposite. In this case, we want the order fact table to filter the fulfillment. I just hit OK here. It's a many-to-many relationship in this case, okay? And if I go here and when I create a report, order fact and then your fulfillment. Here we need the order ID. Okay, order ID, I just drop it. And then here what I do is this is the one holding the number of quantities ordered. Okay, by order ID. Okay, it is showing correctly. So 101, okay, I just increase the font size. So 15 and 6, 5, 26, correct. And then the next one is, you can put it here. And here what we need is, okay, or else we will put it here itself. The fulfillment table is holding the fulfillment quantity. So look here, this is the fulfillment quantity. If I select this one here, this one will get dropped here. Either you can drag and drop it, or you can simply select this column. It will get dropped here. So now it is showing correctly here. Because the order fact table and fact fulfillment table, though it has a many-to-many relationship, we have an option in Power BI desktop to enable the order fact table to filter the fulfillment table. So in this case, what happened? And I'll just put the data set also so that we can compare it. And then in this case, we have the order ID. This is the data here. Okay, instead of going to the data view, it is painful comparing it side by side. We'll lose sight. Okay, so 15.5. Look here, 1001. 15 items got the fulfilled, and 1002. So 5 we filtered, and 1003 there are no fulfillment record here at all. Got it? It is doing the correct job. And similarly, if you wanted to see what data is there in this table, the order table. So order ID, all we need is just order ID and then the quantity. In this table, we can see that 3 orders raised by the customers. But so far we have fulfilled 1001 and 1002 only. Then go to insert and shapes here. What I do is, sorry, I just do one thing here. I go to the shapes here and then I'll select a line here and then I will put the line here so that you can understand which one is which one. This is not required. I just delete it. It is not get deleted. No, okay. This one is supposed to be here. Okay, it got clubbed here, and we have something else is there here. For the timing, I'll keep it there. So this is for your reference, okay, line. Okay, this is related to, this is data, okay, related to account and customer dimension tables, and then the transaction table, data, you can see it here. And then you can see the corresponding visual here, okay. And here, this is your data here, and this is your visual, okay. In the single visual itself, you want to see these two things. But if you don't have the many-to-many relationship, it will not do the filtering. But in this case, many-to-order fact wants to filter the fulfillment table. Okay, and if you use both, what is happening? What is going to happen if I use both bidirectional relationship? 15 and 6 and 5. So 15 and 6 on, the 1001, it is showing the same value here. It is showing the same value here, 15, 5. Okay, I just save it here. And let us see, fulfillment ID is not required here. Okay, and you want me to repeat the fulfillment ID? Fulfillment ID is not required here. You are in both the fulfillment table and then order fact table, both of them have order ID here. Both the table have the common column order ID. Only when both the table have the common column, you can create the relationship. But both the tables common column have duplicate values in it. Hence, we have a many-to-many relationship here. Even when you try to create the relationship between these two tables, Power BI automatically tells you the relation is cardinal to many-to-many. Okay, you got it. Yeah, fulfillment ID is to understand in which shipment, on which date we have to identify uniquely a specific shipment. We use a shipment ID. Okay, a fulfillment ID. We don't have to worry about that. So here the reporting requirement is this is the business user, they wants to see a report like this. So in that case, you are given two tables, order fact table and fulfillment fact table, or shipment, it's also called a shipment fact table. In this case, we need the order ID and then the ordered quantity and shipped quantity. Shipped quantity is available here, ordered quantity. Since we need the data from these two tables, we need to create a relationship between these two tables. How do we create the relationship between the two tables? We need to have a common column between these two tables. In this case, we have the order ID and order ID is available here. Whereas in the previous case, we don't have a common column exists between the account and customer dimension table itself. But whereas here we have the common column exists between these two tables, order ID and order ID. But these two order ID column have duplicate values in it. If you have in any one of these tables, at least one table, if you have the unique values in the order ID, then one-to-many you can do the filtering. But here both the tables order ID column have duplicate values in it. If you try to create a relationship, or the Power BI automatically it will tells you, hey, it has a many-to-many relationship exists between these two tables. So you need to tell me whether you want to do the which cross filter direction. You want to enable bi-directional relationship or fact table. So this is enough for me. Okay, but in both bi-directional relationship as well as in the case of order fact table filters the fulfillment table, it gives me the same output. But bi-directional, what happens? Very expensive one. Your fulfillment table also filters back your ordered fact table. Fact tables are holding 100 to 200 million records in it. Some cases billion records are there. So we don't want both the table to get filtered. Instead, what we do is we use. So, but what Microsoft recommends as is don't create the direct many-to-many relationship. between the tables. Even though you can do the filtering, don't use this approach. If you use this, only order ID can filter this table. You cannot have any flexibility here. Supposing you have a date column, okay, you want to filter the tables by your date column, okay. So quarter wise, I want to see the number of fulfillment quantity and order fake table. Then once you create this relationship, what happens? This table can use the order ID column to filter this table. That's it. You don't have the flexibility here. You want to use the date table to filter both the table. Okay, in that case, don't create the direct many-to-many relationship. Even though this option is available with Power BI Desktop, don't use this approach because you don't have flexibility. Supposing you want to, filter the, order date by ordered quantity and shipped quantity. So you need to have the date column here. Okay, so date table, you need to have the date table. Okay, and then again, if you wanted to use a product table, okay, if you want to filter the product, if you want to use the product table to filter both the order fact as well as the fulfillment fact table, you will have to have the fixed flexibility here. So in that case, what we do is create one-to-many relationship with the product table and order, these two tables, product order fact, and then this one and this one. In this case, obviously, you need to bring in the product ID here. And then if you have the date dimension table here, let's say you have order date here, the order date and this one you need to, link it here. Here you need to put the order date also here. You need to have some duplicates here, order date and order date. In this case, already we have order date. And product ID, you need it's there, it has in it. But here you need to bring in order date as well as the product ID here. And then you bring in the order date dimension and to filter these two tables. If your visual reporting requirements are like that, like we wanted to see, by quarter by, so first quarter or any quarter, given any quarter, I want to see how many number of orders, how many units that we ordered, how many units we fulfilled. If you want to do that kind of filtering, then you need to have the order date dimension here. Okay, in that case, in both the table you have, so you need to design in such a way it should meet all your reporting requirement. Your design should be flexible. It should allow the report users or report designers to slice and dice your measures or the measures or facts in your fact table in a very flexible way. Okay, so here in that case you need to, so even for this you need to have another table, order date dimension table, fulfillment date dimension. Okay, you want to use a date dimension to filter this one. Okay, year on year, quarter on quarter, how many units we ship. If they want a report separate like this, again you need to have the fulfillment date dimension table, order date dimension table. You need to have it, and then you need to have the order date also here. Order date also here, and then order line ID also should come here. Order line ID, order date ID, everything should come here, so that it will be very flexible. You can create any type of report with that. So these are the scenarios, right? You should be aware how to create the relationship. You can tell them how do you, in the interview, if they ask you how do you create many-to-many relationship. We have a scenario where in account and customer, we need to have a bridge table, and you just explore. This is an assignment for you. Okay, let me know your observation. What is happening? Are you able to produce the same output? Like how I want these two visuals output. I want these two outputs to be created. Is it possible to do with this design? I saved your time also. Okay, you don't have to import, everything is readily available here. Simply you need to create a visual and see, see that if you are able to filter it correctly. If it is not possible, then justify why it is not possible. So now, okay, in today's session also we discussed about the many-to-many relationship, and we have discussed two different scenarios. And with bridge table, how we can do the filtering, and without bridge table, also it is possible to do the filtering. In Power BI, we have especially in the case of cardinal analytic, we have many-to-many and the cross filter. You can use the fact table, order fact table to filter the fulfillment table. You can, by choosing that option or by enabling bidirectional relationship, also you can filter this table without having the bridge table. Okay. But this is not a flexible one. It is not the recommended approach because you are bounded with the order ID column with this relationship, because order fact table can filter the fulfillment table with the order date only. If they want to use some fulfillment date, right, based on some date dimension related to the fulfillment date. So I want to see quarter on quarter sales performance. So what is the current quarter? How many units we ship? In the previous quarter, how many units we ship? So you need to have the date dimension. In that case, for everything, every report, you cannot use this relationship, isn't it? Just give it a try.